Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Hemali Vishwakarma. Many of you might not know me as this is my new channel, and by the thumbnail you might have guessed it that we are going to discuss a programming language named C. So before we deep dive into the topic, I want to brief you all about myself first. My name is Hemali Vishwakarma and I am a software engineer at Cognizant. I have done my bachelor's of technology in the field of computer science, and having a keen interest in teaching, I have conducted around 7 to 8 workshops on different topics like cloud computing, GitHub, and various trending technologies, and also some of the programming languages. So, here I am to teach you a new language which is not a kind of new, but to all who have come to my channel, for them it might be new. So, a new programming language to start off with, and which is C. So, before we go to learn what actually C is, we need to know the uh, we need to know why a programming language is important, right? So why do we need a programming language in our careers? So those who have just started off with their software engineering career, or those who have just stepped into IT industry, or those who have just took any bachelor's degree, they might have encountered with a language named C or C++. So C and C++ are the basic programming languages that one is trained on so that they can work off with any other languages easily, right? So let us first see why a programming language is needed. Okay, so let's consider an example that you are in a room, and you have a younger sibling, and you want your younger sibling to do a work for you. So for that you need to command or give an instruction to your sibling so that he can perform what you are asking him to do. Let us consider that you want your sibling to bring you a glass of water. So you would say your sibling, "Ki, please get me a glass of water." And now here comes two barriers, that your sibling should know the language that you are speaking, and also you should know the language that you are speaking. If you join the words wherein there is no meaning in the sentence, your sibling might not understand what you are telling and might not perform what you are asking him or expecting him to do. And the second scenario is, your sibling might also know the language that you are speaking. If he does not know the language, then he might end up not understanding what you are saying and might not perform the task as you desire for. Okay, so here comes that both of you should know the language that you are speaking. Okay, that both of you can understand, so that your sibling can perform the task for you and you can get your sibling done the task for yourself. Okay, so here comes the two barriers. So same is the case with a computer. So when you want your computer to do work for you, it is mandatory that you give some commands or instructions to your computer. And also there is this barrier of language. So which language should you choose to talk to a computer? That is what the problem is, right? So you need a language so that you can talk to a computer. And as you all know, computer is a machine. So machines always understand binary language, that is zeros and ones, right? So you as a human being cannot understand or write binary language, right? So you need to learn a language which is both understood by you and the computer. So as you cannot talk in binary language and computer cannot understand the language of humans, you need to learn a intermediary language which is understood by both, by you and also the computer. And only then you will be able to perform the task or make your computer perform the task that you are wanting to, right? So there should be an intermediary language between you and your computer so that you can perform a task or make your computer work as you like. There comes programming language. So programming language is a language which is not so hard for a human being to understand and can be easily understood by computer. So catch here is that programming language is being converted into binary code. Okay, so programming language is a low level language, machine level language you can consider, and which is being converted into zeros and ones, that is binary code, and after which machines can understand your language. Okay, and human beings although cannot understand or can learn those binary language, and for that reason they have got these programming languages where the human beings have to learn some of the components, and they can learn to code and code in a way so that computers can understand. Okay, so this is the reason why programming language is important. Next comes, why only C? Why not Java? Why not C++? Why not Python? Or why not any other language which is there in the market? Well, as I told you, to the beginners in their curriculum, C language or C++ language is always there because it is the basic language that one can learn and can start off their career with. So if you directly jump into learning Java, it might be a little difficult for you to understand the terms and all. So C language is the building block and the basic language where you can learn to implement logic and also learn mostly all the concepts of all the languages. So it makes things easier, so that if you learn C language first and then move on to any other languages, you might feel easier to learn the other languages and code it in those languages. Okay, so that is the reason why any student is being asked to start with a basic language which might be C or C++. Okay, so we have learned what programming is and why programming is basically needed and why we are choosing C over other languages. Okay, so this is kind of introduction of C language. In coming sessions we are going to see what all topics we are going to cover. Okay, this tutorial might be around of 50 hours to 100 hours, and each not only the programming language we are covering in this, along with the programming language we are going to see some data structures, and we are going to implement those data structures in the coming sessions. So this is a programming tutorial, and we are going to see next that what you have on your plate from our side. Okay, so next slide is, so next slide is the topics that we are going to see. So here are the topics that we are going to see in our coming sessions. First comes up the installation and setup, which will take around 2 hours, and uh, in that section we are going to deal with all the softwares and the setup, the environment which will need for programming. Okay, so which might be having 2 to 3 softwares. We might have compilers, and we might have a software where we can code, and properly we can say that we are trying to create an environment where we can code, or where we can use this language to code. Okay, and next comes, as every language, like we have English, right? English starts with alphabets. We have Hindi we have Varnamala, and there are many languages. Every language starts with basic, and basics are the alphabets. Same here, we have programming language and it might need some basics. Okay, so variables, data types, instructions, operators, these are all the basics of languages. So when you combine all these alphabets that you have learned and combine it, it becomes a word, and then words are combined to become a sentence, right? So this way a language is being created. So this is how you talk. So you have components of languages here in programming, and you try to sum it up and make a lines of code. Okay, you have not only one terminology or one component, you merge many other components and try to write many lines of code, which are nothing but commands or instructions that you give to a computer. Okay, so as a part of a programming languages, first we are going to study all the basics things. So basic things is nothing but all these things, just like alphabets, you can consider all this as alphabets, and then you'll start to code. Okay, after coding, and then we go to deeper and deeper, and we understand what is data structures, and we try to write different programs and also prepare for placements. Okay, not this might be a very earlier stage to say that we are going to prepare for placements, because placements include the various topics. But yeah, this might be a small step where you can which you can take towards placements. Okay, so we are going to see instructions and operators, then conditional statements, and then loop control statements. Functions and recursions are important topic when it comes to C language or any programming language. In programming, you need to focus on functions and recursion when you this is a very basic tutorial. So when you start programming, okay, when you start competitive programming, when you sit for placements, you might see that all the questions that you need to solve are in the form of functions. So you should be very clear when you are writing functions, and you should be very clear about the idea of functions, why functions are used and all. And that is the reason why functions and recursion takes 8 hours. Recursion is optional, that it might appear in your exams or placement exams, or company exams, but sometimes it might not also. But recursion can be a very confusing topic, so that is the reason why it takes a lot of time. Next come pointers. Pointers are there in some languages, and it is not there in some languages. Like you won't find pointers in Java, but in C and C plus you will find pointers. And pointers is a very interesting concept that you need to focus on. Pointer is also very important concept, so it will take around 3 hours of time. Then comes arrays. Arrays is a topic of a language, and also it is used in data structures. So we will see arrays in arrays covered in the normal topics, and then we will use arrays in the form of data structures as well. Then come strings. Strings are basically words. Okay, words, or you can say English words. Okay, so we will play around some of the words with programming, and it will be covered in strings. Then comes structures and unions. Even though if I say you a brief or a, a small thing about structures and union, you might not understand, because for a new beginners or for new students, it might be a little difficult to understand what structures is. So when we get into the topic, we will detailedly discuss about it. Then comes file input and output commands that we will see. And next we will have dynamic memory allocations. And at the end we will try to solve some of the standard problems, like pyramid problems, pattern problems, and also problems like some standard problems like palindrome. Okay, so we will solve all these problems. In the end, after you learn the language, you might have gotten an idea about how the language works. So some of the digits and all these are the basic programming language program sorry problems that you will face in your interviews. Okay, so these are some of the important problems that needs to be discussed, and that is the reason why at the end of the session we will have a problem solving session where you will work on problems for a week or so. Okay, so this is all about the language that we are going to learn. And after we are perfect in a language, a programming language, then we will see data structures. So once we are done with languages, we are going to see what data structures is, and we are going to implement those data structures. So data structures is all about how to store data in a language, okay? How this data is being stored and how we can efficiently use the data. So in this this can be a longer sessions, because this is the most important session when it comes to placements. Okay, so when it comes to placements or cracking any of the companies, it is mandatory that they will ask you one, at least one question from data structures. It might be stacks, it might be queues, it might be any single question, it might be conceptual or it might be a coding question, but you will definitely find one question in your placement series or placement exams. Whenever you are sitting for any of the companies, you'll definitely find these data structures. So data structures sounds a little difficult when it has to, like, you need to um, go through it. It might be little difficult when it comes to problem solving and implementing it, but the conceptual part, if you are clear with the conceptual part, it can be easy for you. Okay, when you start developing interest in the data structures, it might be just a piece of cake for you. So you might easily understand and try to solve problems using data structures. So it is one of the important topics and we need to focus much on this DSA. Okay, so data structures will also have algorithms. So first, the main algorithms are searching and sorting techniques. So these algorithms will be seen from, like, we will see these algorithms, and in searching sorting we'll have quick sort, merge sort, and many other sorts. It might take 6 hours. And then comes stacks. Using stacks we'll also see prefix and prefix calculations, prefix expressions, postfix expressions. Okay, in stacks we'll see that and how stack works. And we'll implement pro using C language. So we will implement stacks using C language. Then we'll come to queues, and stacks and queues are almost same. It might be little confusing, but you can easily differentiate between both. Next come linked list. Linked from here, these are the most important topics. And linked list is the kind of lengthier topic. It might take around 10 hours, because you have singly linked list, double linked list, circular linked list, and many other linked lists, and you need to work with those linked lists. Deleting an element, inserting an element, this might take a little longer time. And then comes trees. Trees is again an important, last 3 4 topics in data structures is very important topics, and you might encounter them every day in your programming journey when you start to code. So trees is again a lengthier topic. You have binary search trees. You have 2 to 3 different types of trees, which we will see in this session, not like coming sessions. And next is graphs. Trees will have their own formulas which we have to look into, and we have to implement trees. Okay, so it might take a little longer. And coming to graphs, graphs sounds easier, but when you have to implement it, it can be trickier. So we need to focus again on graphs also. And hashing are some of the techniques which we will need for, searching for a data. So now searching a data can be complicated. To make those the searching easier, we use hashing techniques. So in that hashing techniques, we will have 2 to 3 techniques that we will see. And with this we will end our session, and if time permits, we will also look into some of the uh, problems using data structures. Okay, so this is the syllabus or the curriculum which you can expect in coming videos. Thank you so much for being till the end. And if you have any doubts, you can comment in the comment section. Thank you so much.